G'day ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags. So, I've just recently hit level 19 in Germany. And I'm running a little short on cash at the moment to buy the 262. And with the day off work, I decided that today I'm going to fly nothing but premium aircraft in historical to make a little bit of money. So the first match I want to post out of today's plethora of recording I did was a match in the Chaika. Yes, the arguably most overpowered aircraft in the game. Interestingly, it's definitely overperforming its historical counterpart, but it's not overperforming as much as I think everyone thinks it is. Just having a look around the cockpit, the detailing on this biplane is just brilliant. I love the open cockpit and the seagull design on the wings. It is awesome to look at. Now, the aircraft itself, from what I've been able to find out of its history, it's about 50 kilometers an hour faster than it should be. It can dive at about 75 to 100 kilometers an hour faster than it was capable of. And I can't find a listing for this aircraft anywhere actually carrying the 20mm cannons that it's armed with. Now, that's not to say that one doesn't exist. The Shevak cannons that are mounted to this aircraft were in service at the time this aircraft was operating. I just couldn't find a listing of them ever being mounted, but that doesn't mean there wasn't. Besides that, the aircraft performs within the capabilities of what's listed capabilities of its historical counterpart. And the reason is, a lot of people seem to think, they see a biplane, oh, it's a relic of World War One. The Chaika, or the I-15 series, was under development until about the mid-1940s, until they finally canned the project. And it was because of the idea that Russians had on fighters during this period. They had it firm set that a monoplane fighter could never be as manoeuvrable as a biplane, and would never achieve the level of manoeuvrability of a biplane. They also had a belief that monoplane fighters would never get much faster than they would in the early 1930s, early 1940s rather. So the biplane would always have a place. So they had a two-system of development going on with aircraft. They had the monoplane fighter, which was the I-16 under heavy development, and the biplane manoeuvrability fighter, which is under development, which is the I-15. Now both are basically the same engine, similar armament, same airframe, just a biplane and a monoplane version, and these were under development for an extended period of time. What the Chaika that you see in game, the premium Chaika at level 5, represents is basically the last full combat military biplane fighter ever developed. When this thing was still in development, the rest of the countries of the world had abandoned biplane fighters, so there was no further development in the technology. The Russians were the last to give them up, and this was the last aircraft that they truly developed to fight the monoplanes in World War II. It is overpowered. Despite all that, it is overperforming, and if Gaijin does the right thing, it will probably get hit with a nerf bat sometime in the future, and you'll see why in this battle. Now, its armament, twin 20mm Shevak cannons, 300 rounds of ammunition, 150 rounds each, and the Shevaks fire fast. So in reality, you've only got about 5 seconds worth of ammunition of good solid fire on board, and as you can see, it carries 8 rockets under the wings, 2 pods of 4 under the lower wing. The rockets are interesting. They fire in pairs, so you really only have 4 shots on the rockets despite having 2. You see cruising along at the moment about 330. Now that's actually under the historical speed. Historically these things would do 350, but if I leave it here long enough, this thing will cruise out to 400, which it shouldn't be able to do even under wet. First targets are detected, 109s. So dropping it down. Now you would have heard then when I dropped the nose of the aircraft down, it stalled out for a second. The Chaika carries exactly the same issue as the low-end Spitfires. It was a carbureted engine, not a fuel-injected engine. So any negative G movement on the engine will starve it for fuel. it will stall out and lose power. And with an aircraft that's this manoeuvrable, you will stall it out often. If you're listening closely to the sound here as I'm diving this thing around, nearly every time I turn it, the engine is dropping out. Oh, put those Shavaks to work. I'm not aiming particularly well here, so stop spraying, start killing. First kill. E3 eliminated, bring it down to the next target. I have two options, go for the one at lower altitude. While this thing climbs reasonably well, I don't want to be chasing a energy loaded 109 around. That would just be stupid. Try and get it in a low energy state when I can hit it. So it's in the middle of the dive. Put one into it. Careful aim. Second kill. Twin 20mm at that range from something this manoeuvrable, you don't want to be caught in the area that this thing is in. But as you can see, all that manoeuvring did come at a cost. I'm down to 170 kilometers an hour. Now, why being a biplane, this thing won't stall out. These 109s, if they had chosen to, could have just flown away and there would have been very little I can do about it. Come around, and here's the problem with the guns. Next spray in, light him with fire, go for the kill, click, click, I'm out of ammo. That's it, this fight for guns for me is now over. Only about 5 seconds of solid fire is all this thing really carries. You really have to watch your shots in HB. Once it's gone, you know, 350 kilometers an hour, especially on a map this size, it's a long fly back to base. And it kills me here too. I do go back for a reload. I don't get to kill anything else with the guns in this game. By the time I've gotten this aircraft back to reload and made it back to the combat zone, everything's dead. So that's all I had. But I am still carrying those 8 rockets. And I've decided, I know if I turn around here, this match is going to be over. There's another Chaika floating around at the moment that has not fired a shot. There's an IL-2 that's already on its way back to base to reload. I'm not sure how he went through his ammunition load that fast, but he's on return at the on his way back to base at the moment. He'll be on return very, very, very quickly. Now, one of our fighters is chasing their last 109 at the moment. I don't think I'm going to be able to catch him, but he is damaged, so well, you can see I am slowly ticking in distance at the moment. This I'm not even going to say the name. That guy's just asking for a ban. So I am trying to reel him in, but it is very slow going. He is already damaged and he does have a fighter already on him, so I'm probably not going to make it. As I'm going through, I'm just checking ground targets to go through. Now, the rockets aren't very powerful on this thing. They'll easily take down a fighter, especially in a burst. Medium tanks will often survive, so if this guy does get taken down, I'm going to be looking for softer targets to use the rockets on before I return back, because there's no point in me flying back to the base with rockets still swung under the wings. That's XP that, well, I'm not earning. So I'm now 1.7 kilometers off him. He has gone into a fast dive. I actually get a little bit of a lag spike then, so I missed the burst, but he's dead. There's the stall out from negative Gs. So, he's out, and I'm not sure where the last target is. Dump these rockets, go back to base. Getting close every time to make sure that... well, I'm not going to miss. As you can see, both 2 rockets fire off on each press. This thing's lift is so high, I can dive right at the target and easily pull out of the dive every single time that I want to hit the ground. 3 presses, 3 kills. The rockets are inaccurate outside of about 100 metres. The idea is to get right on the target so that it's taking up most of the rocket lead indicator. Guarantee a kill every time. And that's this battle over for me. I am completely out of ammunition now. I just dodge out of the anti-aircraft fire here and head back to base. Now that IL-2 has landed and reloaded, and the last remaining aircraft was only an S-79, and he gets located here by our Chaika in a few moments. The defense gunners kill the Chaika, the IL-2 gets the bomber. Well, second place, 2 kills, 4 ground targets, fighter, bomber and bulletproof awards, 41,325 silver lions, and 57,450 XP with the premium account doubled. Not a bad match. Now, you should definitely respect this aircraft when you see it flying around in a battle. It is overperforming where it should be, and hopefully it will take a good hit from the Nerf bat and knock it back to where it should be in the future. But until then, well, I really don't have a problem with facing Chaikas in anything else, to be honest. As you can see then, why its maneuverability in a dogfight is incredible. It completely kills its speed doing it. Dropped down to 170 kilometers an hour in the peak of that fight. Just about any aircraft in the game, most bombers in the game, would be able to outrun me at that stage and just fly away. The energy retention and the ability to regain speed short of a dive is very low on this aircraft, and most of the time it gets into a tight turn fight, it will be at low altitude, so there are limits to what dives it can do. Best bet, if you see one, don't get into a dogfight with it, don't get into a dogfight anywhere near it, and if you see one coming in, just outrun it. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, folks. There will be a lot more coming in. Please click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more. Fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.